The way you condition yourself to grow as a trader, when it gets to that first threshold, you close the trade. Wait a minute. Your target's somewhere beyond that. You just told me to get out where the first partial was. Yeah. If you have not found consistency yet, that's what I teach my students to do. And then you do that each time using lower time frame charts because you're going to get lots of setups. That way you can do it a lot over the course of 1 month. If you're trying to do those types of trades with a 4-hour chart, it's going to take a long fucking time. And I ain't got that kind of patience. You might think I have the patience of a saint, but I don't. You don't either when you start messing around with it. So you graduate. And when you get to the point where you can hold on to that first idea with one contract to the first partial, and then you can get 2 contracts or 2 lots as a Forex trader, then you take one off at your first partial and then you reach for the next partial. Then you close it there too. And still not get to your target. What is it teaching you? You don't have to be right. What is it teaching you? To pay yourself. What is it teaching you? Hold it for 2 stages of liquidity. Now, when you can trade the 3 contracts, you take one off at one partial, second off at the second partial, and you roll your stop to a point at which you're comfortable if you get stopped out. What is that? It might be break even. Others, it might be $200. It might be some specific dollar amount. Whatever that is, whatever that minimum expectation that if you get knocked out of the trade, you don't care. It's not going to hurt your feelings. You're not going to beat yourself up about it. But can you understand how many people listen to me all around the world? There's lots of you. You're all coming from different walks of life, different income, different careers. Some of you had very stressful lives. Some of you just got out of fucking prison. You think about it. There's different walks of life all around in this community. And I don't have a specific recipe for telling you how much to take off in partials. But in the beginning, it's start with 1. When you get to your first target of where a partial would be, you get out. And you keep doing that. And it feels good because then you get to see, does it really go to my target? And then when you journal that, it gives you experience. So now apply that to doing these big runners. That's all you're doing. But see, what you're trying to do is you're skipping over a lot of necessary, conditioning. And Patrick, you train with weights. Can you go out there and bench press 500 fucking pounds right now? I bet you $10,000 you can't do it. And that's not to demean you. It's just, that's the equivalent of when I watch you, I'm seeing you grow. Like I'm literally seeing you transform from what you were a couple years ago. And I didn't watch you then, but I can see the videos and stuff you did back then. You're totally different now. And I asked you to do a video and talk about what it is that you have done to change. And this is what my observation is. And I don't mean anything to be ignorant. I'm just sharing something as an observation. And I'm quite certain a lot of your audience and my audience would agree. These are the characteristics I see in your trading. I see that you, number one, understand liquidity now that you didn't. When you were trading in 2021 and in the beginnings of 2022, it wasn't there. Now you focus on where the market can likely draw to. That liquidity, that's the secret sauce. You have to have some kind of understanding about where the market's likely to go. Because I don't give a shit what you use. If you don't have that right, you're not making money, period. End of story. So I've seen that transformation in your trading. Sometimes you second guess it, and that's normal because you're still finding yourself. But you have a very simplistic entry model. And that's proving something I've already taught many times over before. The entry is the least important thing. Literally, it's the least important thing. But knowing what's likely to be seen as a target or a draw on liquidity, where the market reaches for, that is where I think you're shining now. You weren't doing those things in the past, as far as I could tell. And I might be incorrect. And you're welcome to correct me in any kind of public response or whatever. But I think that the direction you're going in, if you just slow down in terms of how much you're trying to bite off, like you could be huge on YouTube, like huge, really big. Just slow down what you're trying to accomplish in terms of, I got to get to 100-point handle runs. I got to do that. I got to do that. That's great as a goal, but graduate into it. Like literally graduate into it. When you have an $8,000 trade running and you're admitting that you're struggling because you want to hold on to these big runs, when it gets $8,000, bro, get the fuck out. Do that every time it gets to $8,000. Well, if it goes to 6,000, get out. Believe me, your fucking audience is not going to say, "What a dumbass! He just made $6,000." That's never going to happen. Just like nobody can complain about a partial not being profitable. But because you're in front of an audience and you're trying to entertain also, you're losing sight of what the fuck you're doing this for, is to make fucking money. And that's a reminder for all of you listening. If you're trading, if you're pushing a button, the result should be you're making money. That's it. Not did I impress the people that watch me? Fuck everybody that watches me. Seriously, I don't give a fuck if you like me. Okay. If I'm pushing a button and I'm taking on risk, the end of that trade, I better fucking make money. I don't care if you like my post. I don't care if you like my management of the trade. I don't give a shit. Because whether you like what I did or whether you didn't like it, if I didn't do something I didn't feel I should have done or didn't do something I should have done, I'm beating my ass up mentally over that. You could never troll me. Any of you could never troll me as hard as I do myself if I know I did something incorrectly. But when you open yourself up to signal services, standing in front of the world saying, okay, I'm going to do this, I'm going to trade this, I'm going to trade that. Seriously, you have now literally multiplied the difficulty into a realm that is absolutely fucking insane. Because you're literally inviting everybody else to openly critique you if you're watching and looking at it. And if your disposition is combative, that's me. Patrick, that's you. Vinny, that's you. You're increasing the level of difficulty for you to focus on what it is that you're really doing this for, which is make money. I've watched both of you literally get into fabulous fucking trades. Fabulous. And then later on, that wasn't enough. You weren't content with it. You went and did more. Or you had open profits. You had it right there. And you both have said, I just want to get a little bit more. As soon as you fucking say that, as soon as you feel that fucking impulse, I'm telling you, this is what I did to fix me. That King Kong moment, this is exactly what Larry Williams said. And I know I'm probably going to get a knock on my door. My wife's going to be like, it's 9:00, motherfucker. It's time. I'll wait until that happens. I know I'm pushing it. But Larry Williams said that, if you ever get this impulse when you're in a trade and you whip out the calculator and you're like, I'm going to figure out how many, if I do this, if I hold on to it this much more, and if I hold on to this and I don't take much off of the position, I hold on to everything, I'm going to be able to make this much money. As soon as you start changing your mind about what you think it's likely to do or how far it's going to go beyond what you thought, or for me, if I feel any kind of vibration because of experience, and you both have experience, you've been doing it longer than most of these people out here, yourself. And because you both live stream, you've shown your tell, like you've shown it. And I don't know if you realize it or not, but as soon as you say it out your mouth, I don't know if I should, that's it. Close the fucking trade. You are managing your money. You're managing the risk. You're managing your trade. And guess what you're also doing? You're managing the expectation of your audience properly. That means you are seeing something. Your audience is watching you. And then now what are you doing? You're taking the action on saying, okay, I am no longer able to focus on this. It doesn't mean you suck as a trader. It doesn't mean that your concepts blow. It just means that you, as the operator, working in that market environment in front of fucking an audience that's live and watching you, critiquing you, you now have to pull the plug on the trade. And guess what you're doing? You're pulling the fucking trade at the height of the profitability while you're in the trade. You two aren't the only one. I've seen other YouTubers doing this shit. They don't even trade like me. They don't trade like neither one of you. But they have these positions on. And as soon as you see them or hear them, question whether or not that they should hold into the trade. As soon as you start thinking, uh, I hope. As soon as you say hope, that's it. The fucking trade's done. Close it. And if it runs to your target, who gives a fuck? You closed at whatever you closed at. 90% of everybody else out there on YouTube are fucking doing their own asses in. They can't find their own fucking way. So because you want to be out there in front of the audience doing that, I'm telling you, somebody that's been doing it longer than both of you motherfuckers, I'm telling you, you both could be absolutely fucking phenomenal. But you are bringing in all the wrong things, whether it be an ego, whether it be competition, thinking you want to expose me as a fraud, or you want to prove that I don't trade with real money, or this, that. I don't think I got more people following me and I'm a demo trader. It doesn't make any sense. All that secondary bullshit, bro. Like you have an audience. Both of you have an audience. You both can do so much better if you just focus on what the fuck you're doing. And when you get these little vibrations that tell you, you know what's probably turning, close it. I've been doing it longer, and I would not look at that as weakness. But you probably think it's weakness. Oh, I got other trade, I bailed. Who the fuck is going to sit around and say you're in thousands of dollars in profit and you collapsed it at the height of the trade, right then and there? It went further, but that's a failure. Nobody would say that. There ain't nobody out here that has common sense is going to look at someone in a position, start to finish, and they have thousands of dollars in equity and they close the trade. No one is ever going to say that's a fuck up. No one's ever going to say that's a failure. No one is ever going to say you did that wrong. And if they did, they're full of shit. But because you're trying to make these monumental Olympic-sized feats, the real sole reason what you're doing it for, you've made this something other than trading. You've made it an action movie. You've made it I don't know. You've lost the plot. And so many of my students and everybody else out there that teaches, I'm sure you have students too, that have done this shit. They lose the plot. You're in this to make money. You grow from a starting point that's rather modest, and you graduate over time, adding a little bit more and a little bit more. And you may discover that you won't become a 100-handle trader, but you can beat the fucking socks off of 30 and 40 handle runs. And you can find them all week long, up, down, sideways, everywhere. But a 100-handle run might not be your thing. It doesn't mean you shouldn't try to reach for it, but you can't do it with a 1-minute chart, a 3-minute chart. You have to have a higher time frame perspective. You have to have something beyond the intraday. Well, lay of the land has to be larger than what you're looking at when it's a small little tiny interval. If you don't have that frame, and I've talked about this actually in whatever the last live stream I did, I can't even recall at the top of my head what it was, but I showed how I was trading something using the run on the lunchtime liquidity and then running up to the high of the day and then pyramiding it all the way through that, but also showing you that there was reference points from higher time frame charts that you otherwise would not have seen in the recorded execution, which is, again, I like to have my charts naked. I don't want anything on it, but I have to remember, I have to consciously tell myself when I'm doing these things, make sure I annotate this because I'm going to prevent 1,000 different tweet questions or emails or people not tweeting, I don't know what you would call it, messaging from TradingView. You did this, and I can't answer all your emails. I can't answer all your tweets. I can't answer all your your notifications on TradingView. There's too many of you, and that's the reality. It's not because I think I'm something that's too snooty. I can't do it. It's just too many of you doing it. So I try to do everything I do to try to minimize what it is that is likely to come up as a question or a concern. So I annotate the most salient things. So that way, most of my students have been with me for a while. A lot of them will come in and field, the questions that come to me if it's on Twitter. And if I like your response and if I'm in agreement, I'll reply with like a heart or something like that. So it's kind of like me co-signing it. You're understanding and telling the person that may have that question, you told them correctly. And I didn't need to type that. It's easier for me to just hit that little heart, and there it is. You've done me a favor, and the person asking the question. But When you're getting these big runners, you didn't step into that overnight. You have to graduate. Over time, you have to graduate, working slowly towards that goal. And again, it may take you a lot longer to get to that. But you know how to get there? The shortest time is when you're stretching the boundaries of your comfort zone, just like lifting weights, Patrick. Just like lifting weights. You can't go out there and bench press 500 pounds right now, but years from now, you could. I fucking wouldn't try to do that. There's no way. I would say too much. But everybody knows what their limitations are. And you have to stretch that boundary. But as soon as you get into these trades, and we have all seen you holding on to thousands of dollars in trades, open, unrealized profit. And your face is on the screen, your mannerisms. If we were playing poker, your tells are right there. And I'm saying, as someone that's observing it, if you pay attention to what it is that you're doing, watch your own videos. Just like a boxer watches those competitions fights. Watch your own videos. Listen to what you're saying. Listen to your breathing. Oh, God. Oh, God. I'm not making fun of you, bro. I'm literally telling you, you are talking to yourself, but the whole world that's watching your live stream, they're seeing it. And some of the folks that you can't see them when you would have your own, what is it, the chat window open, sometimes they would tell you, look, close it now. Be content with that right now. Stop it right now. And like you're trying to do something beyond that, where if you just stopped right when you feel that uncomfortable point at the height of your trade, that's when you're doing it. You know subconsciously you should be closing that trade. You know it. But what you're really wrestling with, it's not because you're afraid that it's going to go and run in your favor. You're afraid if it does do that, that the audience is going to say, you fucked up. You didn't get that big run. That's really what's going on. That's what's going on. And you're not wanting to close the trade at the height of the trade's profitability when you're feeling that uncomfortable threshold because you haven't been there enough times yet. You're not desensitized. This is all new territory for you. And it's awesome watching it. It's fucking amazing watching it. I love it. I wish more of you would do it. I would watch the shit. I'm telling you, I would. But when you feel that discomfort, that's growing pains. That's you doing that last repetition to failure. Stop. Don't go anymore. You're not going to get any more muscle growth. Stop right there. Then watch and see what happens. Does it run to your objective where you thought it was going to go, or does it turn back on you? And then measure that with your journal. Just say, hey, this is what I did that day. This is how much I got out. This is exactly the moment where I felt uncomfortable. I closed it here. And then record what you took away from that as a positive reinforcement. And then each time you do that, just like weight training, you'll be able to add another 2-pound plate, 5-pound plate, 10-pound plate, one more repetition, one more set, and you'll go beyond and grow. But the things that I love most watching you is that you're finding this stuff out in yourself, but I don't see anybody else giving you, like you trolled me. I'm not trolling you. I'm telling you, if you do these types of things, I guarantee you, you will be absolutely phenomenal. You'll grow bigger than me on the YouTube. You will absolutely grow bigger than me. And if you just do the things I'm suggesting, you don't have to credit me. I'm not asking for any of that bullshit. It's not about that. I want to see you do well. I want to see Vinny do well. I want his algo box shit to become popular for people that like that kind of stuff. I don't have anything against anybody else. And these two individuals are highly critical of me. And I'm telling you, if they spent more time doing what it is that they do and stop worrying about all this other drama bullshit, your brands would grow. What makes it stagnant and the things that people talk about you is that you still do the things I did in early on. Drama marketing only works for so long. And then you have to be able to do something beyond that. You both can trade. You both can do it. But you bring in other things and you allow outside influence to fuck with you. I don't. That's why I don't do it. But see, both of you have something that I don't have. You have a willingness to sit out there and do that. You're willing to do that. I'm not willing to do that.